Peter had one bad habit that followed him everywhere. He always waited for later. Later for school, homework, and even chores. And every later cost him something: a lost grade, a missed opportunity, a disappointed friend. He thought that time would wait for him, but he would soon learn that time waits for no one. His father, Roger, was a quiet, disciplined, and well-respected tailor in a small town. His small custom tailoring shop sat at the end of an alley where the rhythmic hum of his sewing machine echoed from dawn till dusk. By the time Peter woke up every morning, half the town had already stopped by the shop. His father often said, "Peter, time is like cloth. If you cut it the wrong way, you can never stitch it back." But Peter would laugh. "Relax, Dad. You worry too much. There's always tomorrow." Roger never argued, only smiled. But behind that smile, there was fear that his son was wasting not just hours, but his life. He was afraid that he would never see his son become the man he had expected him to be. He had already lost his wife to an illness when Peter was a kid. Years passed. Peter finished school but refused to take responsibility. He slept late, scrolled through his phone endlessly, and told his father, "You worry too much. You've worked all your life. At least let me rest for a bit." But rest turned into his routine. Then one day, time pushed back. Roger began coughing badly, a deep, dry cough that left him breathless. The doctor said he needed rest, but orders were pending and customers couldn't wait. Roger looked at Peter and said gently, "Son, handle the shop for just 1 week while I rest. Deliver the orders. It will teach you how valuable time really is." Peter agreed instantly. But the next morning, he woke up late. By the time he reached the shop, 2 customers had already left angrily. That evening, he promised himself he'd do better tomorrow. But tomorrow didn't come. Within 1 week, Roger's loyal customers began going elsewhere. The shop grew silent. When Roger started working again and got to finishing up the pending orders that Peter had neglected, a regular customer entered the shop with a smile. "Mr. Roger, my son's wedding is 2 weeks later. I need you to stitch his 3-piece wedding suit. You've always stitched my family's clothes. This time too, only your hands can make him look perfect." Roger nodded proudly. "Don't worry, it'll be done." But he coughed as he said it. This time the cough sounded more serious than before. "Dad, rest. I'll finish the suit," Peter said after the customer had left. His father smiled faintly. "Not today. This one matters." Roger began stitching slowly, each movement painful but precise. By evening, Peter grew bored watching him work. "I'll come at night for dinner," he muttered, and walked out to meet his friends. When Peter returned, he saw people gathered outside the shop and an ambulance waiting. Roger had collapsed beside the sewing machine. One customer who was at the shop at the time had called the ambulance. Hours later, at the hospital, the doctor's words shattered Peter's illusion of endless time. "Your father has suffered a partial stroke. His right side is paralyzed. He'll survive, but he won't be able to work again." Peter's throat went dry. For the first time, he felt fear. The fear of having to finally bear the responsibility of his actions. If you liked this story so far, please take just 2 seconds to like and share this video, and subscribe to Story Wisdom Decoded. Also, don't forget to press the bell icon and switch on your phone's YouTube notifications. Your support would help me to reach more viewers like you. Now, back to Peter. A few days later, Peter stood inside the small shop, sunlight falling through the old glass windows. The half-stitched wedding suit lay on the table. The customer was due in 7 days. His hands trembled as he touched the sewing machine. He sat down, clumsy at first, remembering his father's lessons, the ones he had ignored. The thread tangled, the needle broke, the night stretched endlessly. Every sound, the ticking clock, the rustle of fabric, screamed at him. "You wasted too much time." But this time, he didn't say later. He stitched through tears and guilt, one seam at a time. When he finally finished, Peter was happy. When the customer came to pick up the wedding suit, his eyes became wide with disbelief. "Your father taught you well," he said softly. Peter only smiled.
He taught me everything. I just took too long to listen.
Weeks passed. Peter took over the shop. What had once been his father's rhythm slowly became his own. He worked with discipline, respect, and urgency. He no longer waited for tomorrow. He lived for today. As orders returned, so did hope. The shop was alive again, and so was his purpose. One evening, after closing the shop, Peter sat beside his father's bed. Roger's personal attendant had left for the day. The room was quiet, except for the faint beeping of the medical monitor. Peter held his father's frail hand and whispered, "Dad, the shop's full again. People say I sew just like you." For a long time, Roger didn't react. Then slowly, tears slipped out from the corners of his eyes, glinting under the bedside light. His lips quivered into the faintest smile. In that silent moment, Peter understood that it had taken his father's paralysis to make him realize the true value of time. Most people don't run out of time. They just waste it thinking they won't. Everyone gets only 24 hours a day. How you spend those 24 hours determines where you end up in life. Life always sends a warning before it delivers a wake-up call. Don't wait for the wake-up call. Respect your minutes while you still have them, because once they're gone, no amount of regret can stitch them back together. Thanks for watching.